Well, the man on pole position is Marc Marquez, and the man standing next to him is Simon Crafar. Let's drop down now and hear what the pole man's got to say.
Yes, Mark, another stunning qualifying from you. In FP4, also, Dovi was strong. I imagine you want to get away from him early on.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we don't know because with this kind of temperature, we don't know how will be the grip of the track. We don't know how will work the tire. Looks like Dovi is going with the soft rear. I'm thinking about medium soft, but yeah, yesterday the feeling was better with the medium. But let's see how it is. Of course, after the rain, sure the grip will be a little bit less, but we will try to do our 100% and try to manage the race in the best way.
Thanks, Mark, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon Crafar. Thanks to Marc Marquez, going straight to the top there.
Yeah, great get that on the grid then by Simon Crafar. Yes, it is much, much cooler here today than any weather we've had so far this weekend. Throughout Friday and Saturday, we had track temperatures not far shy of 50 degrees. Completely different ball game there. You could hear Marquez really, really torn between the medium and the soft rear tyre. This is a lovely tribute to Austrian motorsport legend Niki Lauda. There's a tunnel underneath the circuit linking the paddock and the public area outside the main grandstand, and this is a really, really lovely, heartfelt tribute to a true Austrian motorsport legend.
Yes, and of course, down there at turn number 1, Niki Lauda corner as well. It is, I agree with Matt, fantastic tribute, some brilliant photos down there as you go through this tribute tunnel to the late, great Niki Lauda here at his home. Now, there's been so much speculation, of course, off circuit, but a big job on for Jack Miller from 8th on the grid. He looks like he has podium pace. If he can get a good start, he's been good enough to take some time out to speak to Simon Crafar on the grid.
He has. Jack, a lot of us got faith in you today, but more important, how do you feel?
Yeah, feeling really good. You know, done a lot of work throughout the whole weekend, working on pace, working on you know, race setting. So we'll see now if it'll all pay off for us. But no, I think we're going for something a little different in terms of the rear tyre compared to everyone else. We're going to keep the soft, I think. And last over from Michelin, nearly everyone's gone to the medium. So hopefully we'll make it last.
We'll be cheering for you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, Simon Crafer's not wrong there. A lot of people have pinned their hopes on Jack Miller, him being included, and myself and Steve Day. We've all tipped Miller to come through for a podium on the middle of that third row. He has had great race pace as Jack Miller. Is it enough to go with Marquez and Dovizioso? Maybe not. We're expecting a real titanic fight potentially for the last podium place. Throw in the mix Quartararo, the man we just saw there, Maverick Vinales, Pecco Bagnaia, how will he figure? Taki Nakagami goes from a best ever MotoGP qualifying. Alex Rinder's looked strong as well. The list goes on.
Well, you can see here there's all sorts of interesting animals going on in the around here. That is a very, very unique goat stroke antelope, I believe, native to Austria and many other parts around the world as well. Our camera boys have been very busy. Couple of trophies you can get in the shape of that goat if you're into your winter sports. Anyway, let's get down onto the grid to hear from Pit Byra. Big announcement this morning. Simon.
Yes, I'm with Pit. Pit, we're next to Pole, and I watched Pole's FP4, and he looked really strong, even like right through. You must be reasonably confident he can do something today. And how important is it at KTM's home race?
I mean, what can you say? I mean, this full grandstand, I was up there just an hour ago. It's amazing to have all the peoples behind us. But yeah, Paul had a really good pace. We tried to adapt the bike a little bit to more race pace and help the tire a little bit longer. This made it more difficult to make that one lap time, but we managed to come into Q2. Now we should have a good setup for a race to save the tire quite long. So I'm pretty confident at the moment, but whatever I'm gonna tell you in 1 hour, we know.
Just before I let you go, I've heard while I'm down on the grid here that you're no longer going to be in Moto2 next year. Is that true?
Yeah, this is maybe the sad news of the weekend, but man, it's just such an overload of work, and we cannot get even the good people anymore together to work for us. And the strongest, we're gonna split up between MotoGP and Moto3. And but for my crew, they built a new bike over the summer break when everybody was in the summer break. To announce this with a win is a really great payback for all my guys. I really love them for doing such a good work.
Okay, good luck today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Pit Byron, thanks to Simon Crafar on the grid. Massive home Grand Prix, of course it is, for the KTM factory. They are putting more focus, more effort into their MotoGP project next year. It's flag fever here in Austria. Yellow flags, orange flags. Bernie Ecclestone, well, back in the day, I remember interviewing Bernie Ecclestone in Istanbul one year. He wanted this man to move over to four wheels to bring his charm and charisma and his speed to the Formula One paddock. Great mutual respect between the pair of them. Thankfully for us, Valentino Rossi decided he was going to stick on two wheels, and he was hanging around in MotoGP, which is great news for all of us.
Yeah, good stuff there from Bernie Ecclestone. Well, if Dovizioso is going to defend this, he's got to beat this man. What does Davide Tardozzi think the chances are for his man, Dovi? He's down on the grid with Simon.
Davide, yesterday it looked like Dovi made another step up and he looked super strong in FP4. How are you feeling about him today?
Oh, we know that it's going to be probably the hardest race we have in this racetrack since the first one in 3 years ago. But I guess that Dovi is really motivated to fight with Marquez. I think that the race it will be finally in between those two riders.
I noticed also Petrucci had really strong pace on tyres, like equal to probably a bunch of guys will be fighting for third. What do you think?
I think that if Danilo can start well, if he has a good start, for sure he can be on the group right behind Marquez and Dovizioso. But he must have a good start and overtake some riders, a lot of riders in the first 3 laps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great rendition there of the Austrian national anthem, as hopefully we had a good landing there as well.
Yeah, the national flag being parachuted in. They do know how to put on a spectacular show here at the Red Bull Ring. Will Suzuki put on a spectacular show today? Well, that's in the more than capable hands of Alex Rins. We can find out what the team boss thinks of his prospects. Simon's with Davide Brivio on the grid.
Davide, looking at practice, you're missing one rider, and then the other rider looks like it's going to be a tougher race than usual. You know, normally picking him for the podium, but today looks tough from the outside. What about from the inside?
Yeah, of course, we're missing Joan, and only with one rider is a very strange situation. So hopefully he will be back next race. And with Alex has been also more difficult because only one rider on the track, less information. And this is also one of the probably most difficult track for us, where the power is very important, and this is not our strongest point. But we have we have improved our package through the winter and for this year. So I'm also interested to see. Will be hard, as many other powerful bike in front. But Alex will try to manage the tire. Will try to ride smooth and see how the race develops. But yeah, it's difficult. But okay, here we are.
Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks to Davide Brivio. This is Spielberg then in Styria, Austria. Brilliant facility as well here at the Red Bull Ring, and a great atmosphere, as you can see. They love it. I have to say, credit to not just the fans but the organisers here, Matt, because they put on a real show. Even when the racing is finished or in between races, there's music blasting out. They've got local commentators commentators from different languages. They've got everything covered.
They put on a fantastic show, one of the best events we go to of the year. Delighted that we're coming back here until 2025 at least. This is the place where you need to be, this kind of electric atmosphere.
Que Sera playing as well.
We're not going to Wembley though, are we, just yet? Who will be going though to the top step of the podium? Look at that. What an atmosphere being whipped up here in the grandstands at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg.
Simon Crayfar's just come through our ears and said you forgot to mention the awesome local beer as well. Hopefully we'll be sipping.
Didn't think it'd be too long before we brought it back to Coldies.
So we're not far away from getting going here then in Austria. It's been an interesting season so far, but dominated by just one man.
Miller on the inside, look at this, brilliant racing. Marquez bounces back on Dovi, hits the front here in the Jello, neither almost have contact. Victorious for the first time, Danilo Petrucci, Vinales finds a way straight. This is really brave, he wins here in Assen. Marquez got a flyer, he leads. It's win number 6 of 2019. We're back in Austria. Giannone that leads the way. Ducati are going to win in MotoGP again. Marcus, they almost done. The Vincenzo's going to win here in Austria. Austria is Lorenzo land. Ducati undefeated in Austria. Can anyone stop them?
Can anyone stop them indeed? Will this man end Ducati's domination of the Red Bull Ring?
He loves to go into destroy mode, Marc Marquez, and he likes breaking other people's hearts. He would dearly love to stick one into Ducati today. Dovi's gone for a soft rear, Marc's gone for a medium rear, so they're different there. Will they be different in terms of how they finish this one? Who makes the right choice on tyres? Dovi starts from third here in Austria, looking to defend this prized record of Ducati. Quartararo, can he get busy in the opening laps? Can anyone stop this guy? Marc Marquez, 63 points up with 9 races to go. We're ready for Austria here for round 11 of MotoGP.
We're set for a Spielberg blockbuster. We're ready for a Spielberg thriller. Marc Marquez from a record-breaking 59th MotoGP podium leads the front row from Fabio Quartararo and Andrea Dovizioso. Vinales, career best MotoGP qualifyings for Bagnaia and Nakagami on that second row. Rins, Jack Miller and Crutchlow are on row 3. Rossi, Espargaro, Pol leads the KTM charge from the middle of row 4, with Petrucci also on that 4th row of the grid. 2018 Valencia Moto2 winner Miguel Oliveira, he heads row 5 ahead of Morbidelli and Tito Rabat. Zarco, Abraham and Andrea Giannone leading the Aprilia charge at the back of row 6. Row 7 headed by Aleix Espargaro, Happy Cyrene and Jorge Lorenzo's injury replacement on the Repsol Honda, Stefan Bradl. He rounds out the 21 strong pack here in the Red Bull Ring.
What's the story, Spielberg? It should be an interesting one, this. Has Dovi got something up his sleeve for Marc Marquez? They head off then on their warm-up lap. Yamaha, of course, they face a tough test. All the grip seems to have been washed away, and that cost them dearly in Brno. Will it cost them here today? Mario Meregali is down with Simon in pit lane.
Mayo, no one works closer with Valentino and Maverick. What are your concerns going into this race?
Well, the start is going to be fundamental. It's going to play a really big role today, and it depends really how they will be, or where they will be at the first corner. I think Maverick starting from the second row. He has a lot of possibility to fight for the podium. That is our guest. For Vale, starting from the 4th row, anyway, it's going to be a tough race, but as we already said many times, for him, with him, you never know.
And it's not an easy track to pass.
Yeah, but when he wants to pass, he pass. Good luck. Thank you.
85,000 fans packed into the Red Bull Ring already. Millions around the world already. Can Ducati make it 4 wins in a row here at the Red Bull Ring to carry on their unrivaled domination?
28 laps then of this Austrian circuit coming up at the Red Bull Ring, and we'll be here till 2025 at least after it was signed, sealed and delivered this morning, and that's great news for us, for the riders and from all the fans. This is the record in Spielberg for Marquez. No wins in the column so far. Will that change today?
He wants this win badly, so desperate to end the Ducati domination. He's had 3 poles in a row here at the Red Bull Ring. He'd swap all of them for a first win and 25 points in about 45 minutes time.
Chapter 11. It's time for action in Austria. The green flag waves at the back and the lights will go on shortly. Up in the top left. Away we go here. Good start from Marquez. He got off like a rocket ship. What about Dovi? I don't think he's going to be able to contend. Is he? No. It will be Marquez. Look at Miller. He's charging through, but he's gone deep.
Jack Miller was briefly in 3rd place. Can Dovizioso use the power of the Ducati as they head through the Fast King into turn 2? They're side by side. Marquez and Dovizioso. Did they almost touch at about 320 kilometres an hour? How tight was that, Marquez? Up the inside. They both run wide.
Neither of them were giving that one up, and it's cost them dearly, and that means now we have a Yamaha leading of Quartararo.
Wow.
Oh, he's off the seat there, Marquez. Miller goes through. Rins goes through, remarkably. This has been such a start, and now Rins goes up the inside of Marquez. Oh, and Dovi's up the inside as well.
Heart-stopping start here in Austria. What a dramatic start to the Red Bull Ring Grand Prix. It's Fabio Quartararo that leads. Alex Rins tried to find a way up the inside and Miller into turn 6. He does, because Miller had a big moment on the front end. Left the door open for the Suzuki man. Dovizioso is in 4th place. What an early scrap there between Dovizioso and Marquez. They really, really toughed it out going into turn 3.
Not many people have got their fists out with Marquez so far this year. And this is as far back as he's been in a long, long time. Dovi up the inside of Miller there. He's up into 3rd. Marquez tried to pounce on the number 43 now as well.
Rossi's jumped on the rear tyre of his factory Yamaha teammate Maverick Vinales. Rins made a meal of turn number 10, lost all of his drive. Dovizioso powers on through. Dovizioso 2nd. Quartararo leads by 8/10.
Here comes Miller, up the inside of Rins. Rins really did lose out then on the exit of the final corner. Now Marquez tries to get in his slipstream. He's going to fly past Alex Rins on the Suzuki. Quartararo then with 3/4 of a second in his back pocket already. Marquez up to 4th.
Brave move that by Marquez through that fast kick turn 2. Maverick Vinales is trying to find a way through at the inside of Pecco. Magno, I think he made it stick. Rossi trying to force the issue on Alex Rins as they power down the hill into turn number 4. Rossi's on the charge. He started 10th. He's already inside that top 5.
Something's happened to Crutchlow and Polispargaro. That could be a big disaster for KTM here at their home Grand Prix. Their names have just gone down, and there's Crutchlow. He's gone down and he's holding his hand, and there is Polispargaro.
Nightmare home Grand Prix for the KTM man. Nightmare build up to Cal Crutchlow's home Grand Prix at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. An instant at turn 3. We're looking down on a classic encounter already here in Austria. Fabio Quartararo leads. Dovizioso 4/10 behind him. Jack Miller still in 3rd. He's under pressure from Marc Marquez. Rossi has made a great progress, up 5 places from 10th to 5th. Rins there is in 6th.
Jack Miller then now trying to hold off Marc Marquez. That's not easy to do. Rossi got a good start. Quartararo flying.
Rins keeps making mistakes into that turn 10, that hollow, that dip. He's lost loads more drive as well. Vinales all over him. Here comes Marquez. It's going to be tight. No way through. Miller slams the door in his face.
Oh, that was so close between Marquez and Miller, and now Valentino Rossi's up with his old pal. He's in the slipstream again, though. Look how much that Yamaha loses out on speed.
Marquez just had to back out of that ever so slightly, cost him driving acceleration out of the first corner. Couldn't get close enough to pounce on Miller into turn 3.
Huge drama then at the start of this Austrian Grand Prix. It's what we wanted to see. Let's have a look at what happened between Crutchlow then and Polispargaro. Polispargaro,
his bike just
his
cut
bike
out.
cut out in the middle of the corner.
Cut out. How unusual and bizarre was that?
Looked like an old two-stroke seizure, that did. I don't know what on earth happened there.
So the rookie, Fabio Quartararo, there's never been an independent team Yamaha victory in the MotoGP World Championship. He's going to have to work incredibly hard for it. He's running a really strong pace though, 24.936 from the Frenchman. Quickest man last time around was the man in second place, ghosting towards Quartararo. It's Andrea Dovizioso looking for a fourth straight victory here for Ducati in Austria. Marquez at the moment has not been able to find a way through on Jack Miller. We're looking back from the Australian to the number 93. This is the battle raging for third and fourth. Marquez lining up here surely at the first corner.
On board now with the world champion. He's going to go up the inside into turn one. As he know, he just checks back again. Rossi having a good start to this race, you know. He's a lot closer than I expected him to be. Happy Siren is the latest rider to crash out of this one then. That's another KTM gone.
Rossi was true to his word. He said he had to be aggressive on the first lap. He was exactly that. Can Marquez find a way up the inside of Jack Miller? You bet he can. That's how you make the perfectly executed move at turn number 3.
Miller trying to bite back immediately though and use the power on the cut back. There's not a lot of room there. Miller's got the inside line, but into turn 4 it's tight. Is he going to have a look? Not quite.
In the past though, Miller would have out-dragged Marquez there down to turn 4, but the Honda now on a par horsepower-wise and top speed-wise with that Ducati. You can see there clearly how much Marc Marquez has got a better engine underneath him, because that would not have happened in previous years. Miller would have blitzed him out of turn 3.
Dovi slightly wide there. Marquez now got his eyes set on his old rival in the championship, Andrea Dovizioso. A Yamaha leads though on lap 4 and has done since the opening lap.
Fabio Quartararo said in the summer break one of his desires and wishes for the second half of the season was to be in a proper, downright dogfight with the likes of Dovizioso, Marquez and Rossi. He might not have to wait too much longer for that dream to become a reality. Quartararo over the line. Fastest lap of the race briefly because Marquez betters that speed. 24.347 set by Marquez. Couple of tenths quicker than Quartararo, 3 tenths quicker than Dovi ahead of him.
Right, up the hill we go. It's Quartararo from Dovi on the Ducati. There is Marc Marquez in third. Then it's Miller just on this lap, drifted slightly away from Marc Marquez as the pace is upped. Rossi still there in 5th, and it's Rins, Vinales, Bagnaia, Nakagami. Miguel Oliveira having a great start to this race. The hopes of KTM maybe on his shoulders. He's in 10th.
Yeah, Petrucci started 12th. He's in 12th place right now. He got a dreadful start off the line. Big wheelie. The whole shot device did not work for Danilo Petrucci this time out. It worked brilliantly for Jack Miller. 8th on the grid. Superb start. Immediately into the podium places as Quartararo is coming under pressure now from Andrea Dovizioso, as you would expect. Quartararo capitalising on that early skirmish up at turn 3 between Dovizioso and Marquez. I'm pretty sure they must have run at about 215 miles an hour on that run to turn 3, Steve. It got really tight.
Well, neither of them were giving it up, were they? And in the end, they both realised if we don't break soon, we're going to end up back in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, this 3 have just got a little bit of daylight between themselves and Miller.
Fabio Quartararo is about to find out what speed disadvantage is on the Yamaha. It stares him right in the face. Dovi goes past him as easy as that. Quartararo then sandwiched in between Dovi and Marquez. Fabio trying to fight back. He's going to need the slipstream, and look at the difference there. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Well, that's what happens when you're 10 k's down the straight. Quartararo is going to try and fight back. On the brakes up the inside of Marquez. You've got to really be brave. You've got to be bold. Brilliant by Quartararo to lunge back up the inside of Marc Marquez. How often do you see Marquez out-braked into turn 3 in Austria? Marquez, though, gives it straight back, as you'd expect.
Yeah, again on acceleration. That's just so disheartening for Fabio Quartararo. He wanted to fight. He's in one.
Yeah, that is demoralising. What can you do when you're 10 k's or more down? You're just a sitting duck. You're a passenger. The Ducati and the Honda, we know, have got the superior top speed. They've got the better acceleration, but Quartararo, that was a lovely move to try and stick it straight back up the inside of Marquez, who in turn is going to try and stick it up the inside of Andrea Dovizioso. They sweep over the blind crest, down into turn 9. Marquez not close enough this time around. It was here in 2017 when they had that famous last corner scrap.
All the paperwork points towards this being a straight fight between these two. Are they now going to cut away from the pack? Marquez in the slipstream of Dovizioso. and the run up to the Niki Lauda corner. Fabio Quartararo going really hot there. He's having to do all of his work on the brakes and mid-corner.
Nothing wrong with the braking stability of Fabio Quartararo's Yamaha. Just cannot even get in the slipstream though, can he? Behind Dovizioso and Marquez. Maverick Vinales has taken 6th place from Alex Rins. Rins struggled really early on, didn't look like he was getting that rear tyre hooked up, not comfortable on that full fuel load as well, so it doesn't look like Alex Rins is going to be fighting in the podium battle.
Quartararo needs these two just to go at it if he wants any chance of staying in the mix. It's as simple as that, really. Now then, Dovizioso leads here in Austria. 1 win to his name so far. Marc Marquez, though, his favourite left-handers, he's eyeing up a little bit of drive here coming out of turn 7.
Yeah, he's all over Dovizioso in those 2 left-handers, 6 and 7. As Steve mentioned, this is the dirt track background that he loves. He loves left-hand corners. He's so at ease, so comfortable. The Ducati does get good punch, though, out of turn number 8. Marquez, he'll bide his time. He's having a good close look here at Dovizioso, just assessing and evaluating the Ducati and Dovi's strengths and weaknesses.
Jack Miller struggling a bit here the last couple of laps. Valentino Rossi still well in touch with him. Across the line we go, and still quite a lot of race left in this one. In the background, Vinales has got ahead of Rins now, so can he get into some sort of rhythm and join up to his teammate?
The problem that Valentino Rossi's got, he's got pace that's maybe a fraction quicker than Jack Miller, but he just cannot get close enough to Miller to show him a front wheel. But the Ducati, it punches out of turn 1 really well, punches out of this turn 3 really well. Rossi hasn't got the grunt, he hasn't got the grip coming out of these hairpins. He just cannot get close enough to pounce on Miller.
On board with Marquez. You can see that front camera at the top there as they drop down into turn 4. It's a tricky corner, this, to get right.
Deja vu. We've been here before in Austria, haven't we, ladies and gentlemen? Dovizioso versus Marquez, Honda versus Ducati. Fabio Quartararo is doing a sterling job, a rousing effort by him to keep himself in this battle right now.
I just wonder, you know, if right now Marc Marquez is thinking we need to lose these guys behind who could cause us big problems if we're not careful. Marquez is pretty close to that tail unit of Dovizioso, and he knows these two have got the pace to drift away if they invite Quartararo. Go!
Oh,
Miller's gone down, and Marquez pounces. He saw a little gap. He goes through. What a disaster for Miller.
Well, the whole dynamics of the Austrian Grand Prix changed down the blink of an eye. Miller down, Marquez did attack Dovizioso, they're getting super aggressive. He's trying to fight back, he does. He pinches back the lead into the first corner. It's going to be time. They run again! They run again down through the kink. Unbelievable close action here between Marquez and Dovizioso.
Side by side. So much respect in the past between these two, and now they're up close and personal once more. Into turn 3. Block pass from Marquez. That invites Quartararo back into the picture. Yeah. Rossi, as a result of that crash earlier, is now in 4th. He can sniff a podium all of a sudden.
This is keeping Quartararo right in this podium battle. Valentino Rossi drops that right leg, tries to stop that Yamaha. Going into turn 4, Jack Miller.
What a terrible shame. After the weekend he's had, so many were hoping he'd find his way on the podium as Dovi into a left-hander. Surely not.
Just letting Marquez know that he's right there. Dovizioso, he's had great drive coming out of turn number 10. But look through that left-hander. Look through turn 7. Marquez could take 2 or 3 bike lengths out of Andrea Dovizioso. Cannot let Marquez get away. Is Marquez, now he's got clear track in front of him, going to try and break away from this pack. He didn't think he had the pace or the rhythm to do so. He felt like he could lead, but he couldn't drop Dovizioso. He's going to go with him. We're about to find out the answer.
Across the line then to tick off another lap. 9 completed. Marquez leads. Dovi stays in 2nd for now. It's the drag uphill. His best chance of trying to counter the moves to Marc Marquez.
Well, Marquez had a good close look at Dovizioso. Now it's Dovizioso's turn to work out the strengths and weaknesses of the Honda. This is Jack Miller heading for an early bath front end, going from underneath him down the hill. Tricky downhill braking zone into turn number 9, and Jack Miller's race has run its course.
Downhill into turn 4. Marquez is going to try and turn up the wick here. In the background, Maverick Vinales is a lot quicker than his teammate Valentino Rossi right now. We knew that he had pace for the podium. It was all about the start. It wasn't a bad start. It wasn't a brilliant start. Rins is coming along with him, though. Good race so far for Bagnaia. He's in a solid 7th ahead of Nakagami, and then it's Oliveira 9th and Petrucci in 10th.
Last time around, Rossi was 3/10 quicker than Fabio Quartararo. Quartararo actually dipped into the 125s for the first time in the race. Rossi was just under half a second further back. Marquez has taken a couple of tenths already on this lap out of Andrea Dovizioso.
You know, with Rins and his tyre life at the end of races, he might just think, I can pick off these Yamahas for a podium here. It's looking like it's going to be a trio of Yamahas versus that one Suzuki of Rins in the fight for the remaining podium spot here.
A better Austrian Grand Prix in 2019 for Yamaha than it was 1 year ago. Dovizioso trying to get into the slipstream of Marc Marquez's Honda. He's not going to be close enough to attack Marquez on the brakes into turn 3. Better chatter on the front end of that RC213V from Marquez. They've been here before, Takeo Yokoyama and Alberto Puig. They know that, or they knew that Dovizioso was going to pose the biggest threat.
Marquez said he wouldn't do anything silly. If there were points to take in the championship, he'd take them. He said he probably wouldn't go all in. I'm not sure I believe him.
Quartararo, as we suspected, just hasn't quite got this race pace. He's about 3/10 behind Marquez and Dovizioso. Jack Miller was hoping for a big result, just to prove Ducati they were wrong to even contemplate bringing Hoy Lorenzo back into the fold. In Pramac Ducati, there'll be no back-to-back podiums for the first time in MotoGP for the Australian.
Quartararo again loses another 10th and a half to the leading duo, who are now just starting to stretch away and show their class and show their speed.
Well, it's the new generation at Yamaha versus the old generation at Yamaha for that final place on the podium. It's Quartararo, who's just under 0.8 of a second ahead of Valentino Rossi. Rossi's got a buffer of 1.5 seconds back to his teammate Maverick Vinales.
The uphill climb to turn number 3. Dovizioso can't quite get close enough. You can just see how much more engine Honda have brought to the party in 2019. We've seen it on a couple of occasions in 2019 already, but here, significantly, you can notice the difference.
You can, certainly on that slingshot out of the first corner, the slingshot out of turn 3 as well, when we saw Marc Marquez retaliate on Jack Miller at the start of the race. That would not have happened in the past.
This is the section of the circuit where Marquez prevails. This is where he can just buy himself a 10th or 2. And you can see there, look, he drops Dovizioso hugely. And especially then as he changes direction here and gets on the power so early.
Through 7, Marquez is lethal. That's where he really gaps Andrea Dovizioso. There's something about that long left-hander through turn 7 that Marquez, he absolutely loves. Of course, that's from his dirt tracking background. Dovizioso strong in T4 though, really strong. He makes up time on the brakes into turn number 9.
He's being stretched here, Matt. He is really being stretched. Dovizioso is on the edge. He's almost gone over the apex on a couple of occasions. Desperate he is to not lose sight of Marc Marquez. The gap across the line is as big as it's been.
Yeah, Rossi's hit a bit of a brick wall as well. A couple of tenths slower last time around he was than Fabio Quartararo. Not much in terms of the gap between the lap times, but for the first time, crucially, Quartararo now leads Rossi by over a second, and Rossi got in a bit deep there at turn 3. That'll cost him a bit of drive out of that turn number 3 as well, so may well have just given up a couple more tenths there, Rossi.
Into turn 4 once more. Dovizioso 3/10 down on Marquez. He's probably going to be about half a second down by the time we exit sector 3, and then he's going to have to make it all up again in the final couple of right-handers.
Yeah, he got a 10th out of Dovi in sector 2, went from 3/10 to 4/10. That's the biggest advantage that Marc Marquez has been able to establish through turn 7, where he's been so strong. He'll click through sector 3 very shortly. Dovizioso's got it back. He's good in that 3rd sector. Certainly the drive that the Ducati gets out of turn number 8 is good.
Cal Crutchlow had nowhere to go earlier. His crash, unfortunately, hopefully he's okay ahead of the British Grand Prix in a couple of weeks.
That was a bizarre incident, wasn't it? At turn 3 early on for Pol Espargaro. His bike just completely gave up the ghost, cut out on him. So the gap over the line between Marquez and Dovizioso was just a whisker over 0.2 of a second. Marquez can't get away. The biggest advantage he's had has been 0.4.
No, but crucially, Matt, he knows that Dovi's strengths are into the slow corners. And out of turn 1, Marquez gets that bike up and out so quickly.
Got to say, massive credit to Fabio Quartararo. Not easy to keep seeing plus 0.246 on your pit bull, but he took another 0.3 out of Rossi on that previous lap. May well have been helped by Rossi's little mistake on the brakes into turn 3, but that's 2 or 3 laps on the trot now, where Quartararo's been 0.3 quicker than Rossi.
Yeah, he's been the standout rookie, hasn't he, so far this year? He's in 3rd place right now. Of the other rookies, Bagnaia currently in 7th. Miguel Oliveira doing a great job still inside the top 10. He's in 9th as Takeo Yokoyama, the HRC technical manager, looks on anxiously.
Yeah, not sure how much fingernails Takeo Yokoyama will have left at the end of this race. He knows, though, he can trust his man implicitly. Marc Marquez has been awesome, supreme so far in 2019.
If Dovi's able to hang on in there until the latter stages, we know he's good on the used tyres. We also know, crucially, Matt, that in these one-on-one battles between Marc and Dovi in the past, he's actually come out on top more often than not.
Well, this is why Marc Marquez is so determined. It's almost like become his main personal mission. He really desperately wants to beat Dovizioso in a one-on-one shootout, and he wants to beat Ducati here in Austria. He really wants to rub their nose in it.
Into turn 3 on board with Dovi on the Ducati. Again, on acceleration, we now join the Repsol Honda of the world champion Marquez. These are the 1 and 2 in the championship. There's a mammoth gap in the world championship, but there's not such a big gap here in Austria right now. Down to a 10th now between Marc and Dovi.
It's running to form so far. Still a long way to go. 13.5 laps to be precise. These two said it would be the ultimate showdown yet again. Marquez versus Dovizioso. How many times have we said that? Not just here in Austria, but all around the world over the last 2 or 3 years.
Let's quickly pop down into pit lane after what looked like a rather bizarre incident and didn't look like his fault. Cal Crutchlow's been kind enough to speak to Simon Crafar.
Cal, it looked like the KTM of Pole just cut out in front of you.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't see that had happened. I just hit the back of, I think it was Tito that was in front of me. Honestly speaking, it serves me right for a bad start, but I felt good today. I felt not too bad in that first lap, and I felt I could have made a challenge up the field, but this is just unfortunate. This is a complete racing incident that nobody wanted. The bike was bent in the front, and my leathers had opened a little bit on the arm, so I didn't continue. I'm also not going to get points from picking the bike back up that short from there. Yeah, nobody's fault. Just honestly, I was, you know, when I think Rabat hit the back of Pole and the bike stopped, and I hit the back of Rabat. It was one of those things, and now I get to watch the epic battle between Marc and Dovi and listen to Matt Burt and Steve Day on the commentary.
Thanks, Cal.
Cheers.
Thanks, Cal. I hope you enjoy it.
I was waiting for an additional supplementary comment there.
Yeah,
taking the mickey. I was ready for it. I was braced for it. Yeah, he would love to have been watching that battle from his LTR Honda, but unfortunately Cal Crutchlow, a racing incident. So he will see this epic battle, as he put it, unfold and rage on between Marquez and Dovizioso. Dovizioso is brilliant on the brakes down the hill into turn 9. We know that the Ducati's famed for its braking stability, not just got good horsepower. He makes up a lot of time into that penultimate corner. 16 laps gone, 12 to go. Yeah, as you were at the front. That was a good lap for Dovizioso. He came through sector 2 over 2 tenths down over the line. It was just 0.08 of a second.
There were a couple of areas on that last lap, you're right, Matt, where Marquez just looked like he was on the edge a bit. Everything under control so far. Further back, there's a good scrap going on for 8th between Nakagami and Oliveira. Oliveira is on for a really good top 10. In fact, Oliveira's now gone up into 8, so he's got another rookie up ahead of him in Pecco Bagnaia. In the battle for 3rd, well, Quartararo's the moment got that one sealed. He's 1.5 seconds clear of Valentino Rossi, who in turn is about a second clear on his teammate Viñales.
Yeah, the shining light yet again for Petronas, SRT, Yamaha. Franco Morbidelli struggling outside the top 10 right now in 11th place. He's just 3/10 down on fellow Italian Danilo Petrucci.
Flick it right then on the run down through the woods and into the couple of last right-handers. Is this where we'll see fireworks in the closing stages?
No doubt about it, Dovizioso is much better down the hill in the breaks into turn 9. You can clearly see he makes up meters and yards hand over fist.
Across the line we go, and he's close. He's really close, and he goes up almost alongside Marc Marquez again there. Nothing to split them. Well, there was a thousandth of a second between them in their lap times.
Doesn't get any closer than that, does it? A thousandth of a second. This is where they really, really toughed it out. Nobody wanted to give an inch. Marquez in way too hot. He picked up Andrea Dovizioso. He had to run well wide. That's what gave Fabio Quartararo the lead. And then Marquez, there was no contact. He just lost his footing. Hard on the gas. He came over that crest. The bike just got a bit unstable, a bit unsteady. Off the footrest came his left foot.
Taka Nakagami looks like he's run into some trouble. He's just dropped out of the top 10 overall. Petrucci and Morbidelli have gone through on him. The gap then back up to 3/10 on this lap for Marc Marquez. It goes up and down through the sectors here.
You can't believe it, can you? A thousandth of a second between two completely different motorcycles, and you will not see two more completely different riding approaches, completely different tactics, completely different styles, yet they're cutting the exact same lap time. Adds to the fascination and intrigue of this epic showdown yet again between Marquez and Dovizioso in Austria.
There was a wry smile on the face of Dovizioso yesterday. He knew he would be in for a battle, but everybody's been writing him off out of this one this weekend, and he knew he had something to bring to the party. The question is, where can he get it done, and can he make it stick? Often it's been Marquez behind Dovi, and we wait for Marquez to pounce. Well, now it's Dovi. He's got to be the one that forces the issue.
Fabio Quartararo at the moment in a very safe and secure 3rd place. Last time around there were just 0.02 of a second covering Quartararo and Valentino Rossi. Rossi 1.7 seconds back. He in turn is 0.8 ahead of his teammate Maverick Viñales.
Do you want to be leading going into the final couple of turns if it's really close between these two? It's a fascinating encounter between, as Matt rightly said, two completely different riders and manufacturers as well. Observations from you, Simon, down in pit lane?
Yeah, it was from FP4 where we know everyone goes out and tries race tyres, does a long run, and watching that, it was around this time, this many laps in the teens, that Dovi actually went faster than Marc, and that's what I was meaning when I spoke to Marc on the grid. You know, you'd want to run away because Dovi is going to be strong in this area. I'm hoping it's going to be a proper showdown.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Marc Marquez is in unknown territory here. He's never raced that aero package on the Honda. Oh, Dovizioso's got through. Andrea Dovizioso has picked his moment then. Andrea Dovizioso with 9 laps to go finds himself back at the front. Big questions now being asked of Marquez.
Some big noise coming from the grandstands here. They have been delivered some entertainment.
Just going to say as well, Marquez has decided to race that carbon reinforced frame for the first time, so it's totally unknown territory with some big key components on that motorcycle for Marc Marquez.
Remember, they've both gone for different rear compounds as well. Dovizioso gone for the soft, Marquez on the medium.
Dovizioso has looked very comfortable on the coattails of Marc Marquez. Now, has he felt like, I'm just going to sit here, I've got the pace, I'm going to conserve the tyres? He got great drive out of the final corner. This is out of turn 10. Blitzes up the inside. Marquez has a real good long glare, a stare at Dovizioso.
Brilliant. These two have had some proper ding-dongs over the last couple of years, haven't they? And Marquez ain't giving this one up. 9 laps to go.
Was that just Marquez, though, saying, you know what, he's had a real good long look at me now, I'm going to just let him come on through, I need to have a good look. work out where he's going to be strong and weak. I need to see the performance, where that rear tyre's holding up underneath Andrea Dovizioso.
See, it's weird, isn't it? You were right. When Marquez was leading through the two right-handers onto the straight, Dovi looked stronger, but now all of a sudden Mark looks like he's so close he could pounce again. What has Marc Marquez got left here? Is he now going to go all in? He said he would, if he was pushed too much to the limit, take 20 points, because of course in the championship he can't afford to do anything silly.
Yeah, he said it was not going to be win at all costs. He's right on the rear tyre though, Dovizioso. Valentino Rossi is being hunted down here by Maverick Vinales and Alex Rins. A double-pronged Spanish attack coming the way of Rossi, who's desperately hanging on to that fourth place. He's still got 7.5 laps to go to keep Vinales and Rins at bay.
Do you know, it's amazing. Miguel Oliveira's got pace to beat all of these guys right now. In 8th place, he's having an outstanding ride.
That would be Miguel Oliveira's first top 10 as a MotoGP rider. Outstanding performance by him. He's been in the top 10 a couple of practice sessions this weekend, as well as Miguel Oliveira. You can see why he's so highly rated by the KTM factory. Tito Rabata's taken a tumble, the Spanish rider. He's out of contention. Lynn Jarvis, Yamaha Motor Racing MD, looks on.
That only leaves 16 riders in the race now. Oh, here comes Maverick Vinales. He's about to pounce on Valentino Rossi, who's been in 4th for 3/4 of this race. He could be getting his pocket picked by a couple of bikes right now as Vinales and Rins inch closer.
Yeah, Lynn Jarvis looking on, his two factory boys being beaten at the moment by the independent team rider. Never sits too well with a factory, does it?
Out front, it's still as you were. Dovi leading Marquez, and it's still just about a 10th or so in it. There's Quartararo. He's in, at the moment, line for what would be a fantastic podium.
Well, he's ridden a faultless and flawless race, hasn't he, Quartararo?
You can understand why Cal's frustrated. A good start, and he would have fancied himself in this mix. Miller will be fuming as well.
Yeah, because Quartararo, he just has not put a foot wrong. He's run a real consistent pace. He's made sure he's kept it all neat and tidy, not made him any mistakes to give a sniff to the likes of Rossi, Vinales and Rins behind him.
Just wonder if Rins has more tyre left there of that group, and whether he can use it to his advantage here in the latter stages.
Well, we thought that, didn't we, in Brno? Very surprisingly, Alex Rins actually ran out of rear tyre.
Here is Miguel Oliveira, and I'm glad we've gone back to take a look at him, because he is at the moment KTM's shining light. He's lapping a lot quicker than Pecco Bagnaia up ahead of him as well, so it could yet get better for the Portuguese rider.
Yeah, and he owes Pecco one from last year's Moto2 race, doesn't he? That's all the incentive and motivation that Miguel Oliveira will need. Back at the front, 6 laps to go now here in Austria, and it's still Andrea Dovizioso by just under 0.2 of a second from Marc Marquez. The scene is set, the stage is set for yet another classic last lap showdown, surely, between Dovizioso and Marquez. What's the gap between Bagnaia and Oliveira of the line? 1.4 seconds. Actually, that time around, Bagnaia was a little bit quicker, although he's made a bit of a meal of that first corner as the Italian.
Anything you can do, I can do at the front of this. Last lap around, Dovi and Marquez were both in the 25s. This time around, they've both got exactly the same lap times, pretty much again, 24.4.
Do you know what? Rossi digging really deep into his tank right now. He's under the immense pressure from Vinales and Rins. Well, on that last lap, he was the quicker of that trio. He's desperate to hang on to that 4th place. He's desperate to be the top Yamaha rider at least. He's got nothing for Quartararo, who has long gone. 2.1 seconds clear as Quartararo in 3rd.
There's no way in a million Sundays that Marc Marquez is settling for 2nd place here, not without a big, big fight.
No, he's already taken the screws out. He's taken the pipes out. The kitchen sink is coming at some stage, you know it. He won't be able to resist. He'll have to give in to temptation. There is no way he's going to yield here and just let Ducati continue their domination of the Red Bull Ring. He wants this win, I think, more than any win on the Grand Prix calendar this year.
Because he knows how much it would hurt, Matt. He knows how much it would hurt. He's completely in control in the World Championship. Losing 5 points doesn't really matter, but it would sting big time if Marquez puts one over Dovi Ducati here in Austria. 5 laps remain here, and it will all come down to the last lap, surely, between these two. Look at the turning speed. of Marc Marquez as they head around turn 3.
They've been the top 2 men in the MotoGP World Championship for the last 2 years. They've been the top 2 men here before at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And as we expected, as they both predicted, they are the top 2 men yet again here. 4.5 laps to go in Austria.
Marquez just weighing up where to get it done, and you just know, don't you, where he's thinking. It's going to be down the hill, into turn 9 or 10 once again.
Dovizioso, though, is strong into turn 9. Marquez knows he's strong in 6 and 7. On that last lap, it's going to be all about, for me, the 2 left-handers. If Marquez is leading, can he just open enough of a gap to prevent Dovizioso attacking right here? This is where Dovizioso's been strong.
It won't be here, it'll be here. I think it'll be into the last turn.
Guys, going on body language, I reckon they've both got a fraction left in the tank, and you'll see it clearly when they both throw 100% in it with a lap or so to go.
Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. I agree completely. I want to add, what I can say is that after recent domination from Marquez in races, I am mighty relieved that we've got a proper race on our hands here. You got what you paid for if you've got a ticket in the Red Bull Ring this weekend, as Marquez shadows and thinks about a move into turn 3. He's keeping the pressure on.
You would not want to be in Andrea Dovizioso's shoe, would you? Every lap you come over the line, plus 0.93. Is there a more scary sight in MotoGP than that? He's been here before, though, as Desmo Dovi. He's got the job done before, right here at the Red Bull Ring. He will love it if he could hold off Marc Marquez and famously win yet again. He was crushed here last year. Soul-destroying defeat at the hands of Lorenzo and Marc Marquez. That really smarted. I've never seen anybody on the podium look so dejected as Andrea Dovizioso. This will be a bitter pill to swallow as well if he yields to Marquez's brilliance.
On board here with Marc Marquez as we flick it right then. Marquez is in contention. He's really close to the tail there. Dovi's got the edge there just as they break into turn 9, but then watch how close Marquez gets as they then move into the final corner. 3 laps to go it will be when they cross the line, and it's happening again. It's Honda versus Ducati. It's Marc Marquez trying to chase down Andrea Dovizioso, the 2 men that have been slogging it out in the World Championship for the last couple of years.
And Viñales and Rins further back can't find a way through on Rossi. Rossi defending superbly. He's hanging on to 4th place. We're on board with Marquez. 315 kilometres nearly through the fast kink turn 2. Hard on the brakes on the front end into turn number 3. Nothing between them. Half a yard between Dovizioso's rear tyre and Marc Marquez's front tyre. Does not get any tighter.
Dovi had a long look at Marc. Marc's having a long look at Dovi.
Where is the move going to come? Who's going to show their hand first? Who's going to swing the first punch? Who's going to try and get the knockout blow in early? Marquez hounding and harassing Andrea Dovizioso through his 2 favourite left-handers. He's going for it at turn 7. It's tight, but he's made the move. Stick Marquez leads.
Not seen one put on there. Brilliant. Marc Marquez goes through, but here comes Dovi. They're side by side as they drop down the hill into turn 9. Elbow to elbow. Standing toe to toe. He's wide.
He's wide. He's in hot. Dovizioso got the better drive out of turn number 8. Over the crest he led, but Marquez strikes straight back on through. Couple of moves made. We thought who was going to show the hand first. It was Marquez. He rolled the dice early.
Here we go again. Side by side once more, the block pass now from Dovi. Can he make it stick though? Into turn 1, he's wide again. Marquez comes through on the cutback.
You can see how hard Marquez was attacking on that front end. He was really abusing that Michelin front tyre. Just about made it stop. What's that? 3 changes for the lead in about 4 corners. Epic battle raging here in Austria. It's advantage Marquez on the penultimate lap.
Marquez has decided he's going to try and pull the pin now. This is his move. Can Dovi stay in touch? Coming up to a sector in a minute where Marquez is going to get a chance to try and put a couple of tenths into Dovi.
Oh, Marquez is asking major questions of that front tyre. What trust he's got in that front end of that Honda rear tyre. Hopping, skipping, bouncing around down the hill into turn number 4. He's on the ragged edge. Desperate to beat Dovi as Marquez in Austria.
Asking huge questions of the Ducati man, isn't he? Marc Marquez, he's asking huge questions of his front Michelin tyre right now as well. They kink right, they're going to go through the woods and the trees, and now this is where Dovi has his chance to cut the gap once more. There will be 1 lap remaining when they come over the line next time around. Dovi's got to get closer.
Can Dovizioso get in the slipstream of Marquez? Can he attack? He's got a good drive out of turn 10. He's lining up the move down the start-finish straight. He's trying to get the inside line on the brakes into the first corner. Marquez squeezes him. Dovizioso's having none of it. He's got the inside line and he leads. No, he's wide.
Oh, he's wide again. And now on the cutback, Dovi's got to try and get back up. Can he get in contention to get in the slipstream now up the hill?
Down into turn number 3 they come. Dovizioso, is he going to be close enough? Will he lunge up the inside? No, he won't be.
Marquez backing it into turn number 3. That's one chance gone. One chance gone for Dovi.
How has Marquez got any front tyre left? He's pounding and punishing that front end. Is Marquez. They drop down the hill into turn number 4 for the final time of asking. Dovizioso is not close enough. Turn 6 and 7 coming up where Marc Marquez has been unstoppable. Dovizioso is running out of corners here.
There's only one place left for Dovi. He's got to get the drive down the hill into turn 9. Otherwise, it's going to be Marc Marquez ending the Ducati run.
Through 7 where Marquez has been so strong. Through this left-hander, Dovizioso's not going to be close enough. It's all about the drive out of turn number 8. I don't think Andrea Dovizioso's going to be close enough. Has Marc Marquez ended Ducati's domination of the Red Bull Ring? Here comes Andrea Dovizioso. He's going all in for the victory. Marquez standing firm.
Turn 9, turn 10, Dovi's up the inside.
Block
pass.
He's
got it. It's a block pass. It's a run to the line.
He's got it.
He's done it. It's 4
What a move.
for Ducati and Dovi.
What
Unbelievable.
What a race. Andrea Dovizioso's done it again here in Austria. What a race. Andrea Dovizioso, Ducati cannot believe it.
What a race.
Didn't think Dovizioso was going to be close enough. What a move up the inside of Marc Marquez. And he's done him at the last corner yet again.
But this time, crucially, Matt, Dovi was the one that went up the inside and he made it stick. It was magnificent stuff here. Repsol Honda are gutted.
Shell-shocked. They can't believe Marc Marquez didn't win that Grand Prix. Andrea Dovizioso, we said he was going to go all in. Everything was thrown at this one.
He was lining it up. Turn 9, he was close, and this was brave. This was brave. This is what Marc tried on Dovi a few years back, and he got it wrong. Dovi goes through, though. I'm not even sure Marc was expecting that until the last minute.
And it was all clean. There was no contact. It was tight. And Andrea Dovizioso, Marquez knows there. He sits up. He knows he's lost it. He's not going to outdrag the Ducati. He's been done, outfoxed by Dovizioso at the last corner yet again here in the Red Bull Ring. What a race.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And they are still undefeated here in Austria. Let's hear from Gigi Dall'Igna. He's down with Simon. We'll have to go to Simon in a minute. We're looking back at the different corner things going on here. 2017, this was what happened last time. That was 2 years ago.
I don't think I've seen Andrea Dovizioso look so animated in a celebration. That meant a lot. That meant an awful lot to Andrea Dovizioso. To take the victory in a classic battle like that against somebody so combative like Marc Marquez. He had to dig seriously deep in that race. That is one of the better victories of Andrea Dovizioso's career. Marquez wanted it. Marquez thought he had it. And Desmo Dovi's got it.
Look how happy he is, Andrea Dovizioso. That is special. Yes, okay, the deficit in the championship is big, but he has dug deep. What a show these guys have had here as well in Austria. What a race.
Couldn't see Marquez losing that race going into final corner. Didn't think he would leave the door open. There wasn't a lot of room there for Dovizioso, but he found a way to put that Ducati into that, what, half a yard? Was it even that? Probably a foot of room, and he took it. What an outstanding, epic, memorable battle. We said we wanted a Spielberg blockbuster, we wanted a Spielberg thriller. We got it and some.
You know, he's miles ahead in the championship, but that one will hurt a bit, you know. That's a little bit of a blow that Marquez has taken on the chin there. He won't like that. We have to just give credit as well, because it was such a mammoth scrap out front. I did not think Quartararo had enough on that Yamaha to get on the podium in Austria, and Yamaha, who were nowhere 12 months ago, take 3rd, 4th and 5th here. That's a massive step forward, but once more, Matt, Quartararo bloodies the nose of the factory duo.
Yeah, and to be fair to Fabio Quartararo, did not make a single mistake in that race. Never looked like giving up that podium spot to Valentino Rossi. Give credit to Rossi as well, though. He held off Vinales and Rins. What another unbelievable race here at the Red Bull Ring in MotoGP. 2025, can we come back here until 2055, please? That's what we need to be doing. Great show, great entertainment, great performance and great sportsmanship by Marc Marquez, going over to accept the congratulations and respect of the factory Ducati team. They know how hard it is to beat Marc Marquez in a straight fight. It does not happen very often, but Andrea Dovizioso has done it, and deservedly so. That was a phenomenal race.
Credit to Valentino Rossi, he did well to hold off Vinales and Rins there. 4th place is the best finish Valentino's had for some time. It's his first top 5 since Le Mans.
Yeah, well, we said before, in Austria, you can have phenomenal, memorable, classic races when there's only a fight between 2 riders. And that was a truly fantastic battle. Valentino Rossi, 4th place from 10th. It was almost his first podium from the 4th row since Qatar 2017. But Desmo Dovi delighted and delirious, as you would expect in Austria.
He's been stuck on that unlucky 13 Premier Class win since Qatar. Not anymore, he ain't. This is fantastic.
Well, for me, 2017 was a barnstormer and a belting race. That surpassed it. That was incredible.
One of the best battles between the 2 current giants in MotoGP. You know what, that little wry smile on Dovi's face yesterday in the press conference perhaps was the giveaway that they knew they had a bit more up their sleeve. In fairness to our pit lane reporter Simon Crayford, he mentioned about the pace in FP4. This is great to see. So much respect between the 2 of them, and they must have a fair bit of each other's paint on their bikes as well after that one.
That one will live long in the memory. We've had some fantastic last lap battles in MotoGP, but this was a classic, an instant classic. At this point, I couldn't see Marquez losing it. That was an unbelievable block pass by Dovizioso. He knew there, if he just parked it in the middle of the corner, there was nothing that Marquez could have done. Without any shadow of a doubt, one of his best Grand Prix victories. Make no mistake, his first since the opening night in Qatar. This man, though, as always, put up a brilliant fight, and we have to remember that is now 16 races, or his last 16 finishes have been top 2 for Mercurial Marquez. For once, though, today, he had to play second fiddle to Andrea Dovizioso. He's had to work after that one. Dovizioso saying, please, just chuck anything over my head. Water, Prosecco, I don't care. I'm drained. Alex Rins, 6th place, started 7th. Probably thought he was going to be a little bit higher up than that. Felt like he had the pace on race tyres to get inside the battle for the podium, but he couldn't find a way through to overhaul Rossi and Vinales.
It's the first time Dovi's finished ahead of Marquez this season since Austin, of course, when Marquez sensationally crashed out.
Well, and for only the 2nd time in their MotoGP history, it is a 4th successive victory on the same circuit for Ducati. Casey Stoner did that in 2007 and 2010 to Phillip Island. You're going to be watching a lot of this replay. A breathtaking, audacious, but brilliant move by Andrea Dovizioso at the final corner. I'm pretty sure now hashtag Austrian GP is lighting up social media all around the world. It's going to be trending, I'm convinced. What a race, and what a move by Andrea Dovizioso. Look how sideways Marquez was. He was right on the limit. I'm not quite sure how actually Marquez didn't get that aero caught by Andrea Dovizioso. Well, that was tight.
Especially when Big Bertha from Bologna was coming underneath you there, the Ducati.
Look at Marquez. Was jumping on front brake, rear brake, everything he had to try and block Andrea Dovizioso into that final corner. But yet again, It's Ducati that are going to be on the top step. This man was awesome, absolutely brilliant. For me, rider of the day behind Andrea Dovizioso, a first top 10 in MotoGP for Miguel Oliveira, the top KTM rider. Absolutely outstanding performance by him. He almost got Pecco Bagnaia as well.
Well, that's
flag.
KTM's best ever result here at home.
So Fabio Quartararo, what a performance on the front row, and the top Yamaha here behind. An epic fight between Dovizioso and Marc Marquez. Was hoping Steve Day, we're desperately trying to catch our breath here in the commentary box. What it must be like for Andrea Dovizioso and Marquez with the adrenaline that's pumping through them. Here's Quartararo though with Simon.
Fabio, you just showed that all Yamaha need at a horsepower circuit to get on the podium is a Fabio Quartararo.
Well, it was an incredible race because we chose the soft tire, and it was not easy for us because I still don't have the experience of having adjusted on the tire, and really I managed really well. Even when I was leading, I really tried to don't make overheat the tire, and when Valentino was at 0.4, I push, and until I have 2 second gap, and after I say, okay, now I stay between 1.7 to 2 seconds, and I make a good race. Really incredible. The team works really hard. It was a tough decision to take the soft tire, but finally we're on the podium.
Congratulations.
No wonder that young man smiling. Fabio Quartararo rode a brilliant race on the podium for the first time since Assen. Led the race, of course, after that early skirmish with Marquez and Dovizioso. We always felt like he was going to struggle to go with those top two, but look at the calibre of rider behind him.
How can Yamaha not give him the full spec bike next year? How can they not?
I would not want to be the person that tells Fabio Quartararo that he hasn't got one. Going to be really, really fascinating to hear the comments of these two men who have just served up 39 minutes and 34 seconds of pure theatre, pure drama in the MotoGP World Championship. A race that's going to live long in the memory. He tried, but came up short again. Marquez second in Austria.
Mark, what an amazing race. Even though you're second, you have to be proud of that effort.
Yeah, of course, happy because today we did a big mistake with the rear tire. And immediately I saw when I go out, all the soft tires had better grip and even the consistency in the end. But anyway, I tried because I'm Mark and I need to try. And yeah, happy because the second place, of course, we missed the last corner, but I was sliding a lot the rear. But anyway, Dovi did an incredible job. And yeah, at the moment we are leading by 58 points, so continue on the same way.
Thanks, Mark.
He's happy with a fantastic second place, but not as happy as he wanted to be. Duffed up by Dovi at the final corner yet again in Austria. You're not going to get tired of seeing this, folks. You're going to want to just put this on a replay loop well into the night because you're just not going to see a better race than this.
I think Mark knew, Matt, if he won here and crushed Ducati at their fortress, that they could call the engravers.
That was just two men giving their all, leaving it all on the line, taking massive risks. Look at Davide Tardozzi. I think Davide Tardozzi's
I love that.
Pretty happy and pumped.
I love that.
Two men giving their maximum, riding their hearts out, leaving it all on the line, as we said.
Tardozzi is having a fight with a fire extinguisher in the garage as well there.
Well, Davide Tardozzi won't have any voice left for tonight, will he? Top of the game, those two.
Sensational. Sensational racing.
Can't wait to hear Andrea Dovizioso's thoughts. Medium slick tire he went with. It was a bit of a bold decision. Of course, it was much cooler than what we anticipated here. By far the coolest conditions of the weekend. But there was nobody cooler than Andrea Dovizioso in that epic 28-lap Red Bull Ring battle. Dovi's done it in Austria. He's with Simon.
Andrea, what a race. That last turn, I didn't even think that was possible, and you pulled it off.
Me too. Me too. When I arrived there, I didn't feel I can enter in that corner because I can't brake in the same place as Mark. But it was the last corner. I have to try. I wanted. If I arrive too long, I can finish second easy. So I have a good feeling too. I mean, I feel so strong in that moment. It's something
in the past I always thinking about, but I did something crazy and sometimes it worked. So I'm so happy for all the people who are working so hard for the Ducati and for Luca.
Congratulations.
Absolutely brilliant race by Andrea Dovizioso, and a brilliant and touching tribute, of course, to Luca Semprini, the Ducati press officer who sadly passed away during last weekend's Czech Republic Grand Prix in Brno. Dovi and Ducati did him proud today.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and there will be many tributes to Luca, and I'll tell you what, Luca will be looking down, watching this, going, yes, nice one, Dovi.
Andrea Dovizioso would have dreamt about this scenario a million times in his life and thought, may it never happen. That was a Marquez move on Marquez.
Yeah, exactly. That's so not a Dovi move. That's the thing that I think I loved about the race, is that he done a Marquez on Mark. It was definitely the black horse today and not the white one. Brilliant stuff. And the championship rages on.
Well, I need a long lie down in a dark room after that one. I don't know about you folks at home, because that was incredible.
Ciao, Luca. You would have been proud of that one. How many last corner battles have there now been between Marc Marquez and Dovi? They'll be reeling through that one upstairs in the truck, I'm sure, because it's happened time and time again, and more often than not, Dovi's come out on top, but not with moves like that. I have to say, I agree with my colleague who's got to rush off now to go and interview these guys. I think that's probably up there as Dovi's best ever race win. Championship, of course, well, there's still one man in control, but it would have been so much sweeter and so much easier for him had he have got that one done. And this, what will this now do to the confidence for Andrea Dovizioso as we head into the remainder of the season with 8 to go? Silverstone up next, of course. Both riders like it there. Yamahas and Suzuki will be back in full force as well. Some rather interesting clothing going on down there as well. That's good to see. Mark's dad and Gigi embracing. That is the great thing about this big battle between Dovizioso and Mark. It's never got ugly. Well, not so far yet. There's huge, huge respect between Ducati and Honda when it comes to this fight. Completely different bikes, completely different gentlemen riding them. But Dovi was today the aggressor. And what can you say about this young lady? That's a really nice touch, by the way. Artur is a press officer who had such a great friendship with Luca Semprini. It's nice that he's been asked to go and collect the award for Ducati. Fabio Quartararo, well, yeah, okay, they weren't in the big battle, but that was unexpected, and that's brilliant. In his 11th Grand Prix, it's now his 3rd podium. And let me tell you, folks, you think the battles right now between Dovi and Mark are great. Fabio's coming, and when he does, he will be a force. Marc Marquez then forced to take second today. Here he is, Desmo Dovi. He absolutely loves that and thoroughly deserves the applause, because I tell you what, Marc Marquez has been something else this year. To beat Marc Marquez in a straight fight, when we thought it wasn't possible this weekend, to maintain that 100% record, is fantastic. Hubert Friedel, founder of My World, in a rather dashing suit. Saturday Night Fever, here we go. And a great tribute there from Artur. That one's for you, Luca. Third place, as I mentioned, goes to Fabio Quartararo. A great, great ride from the 20-year-old from Nice. Dr. Helmut Marko, the Red Bull Racing Sporting Director, is going to hand over the award to Fabio. That's his 7th career podium is all, and his 3rd in 11 MotoGP races now for the Petronas Yamaha SRT rider. Rather interestingly, he's now taken more podiums this year than any other Yamaha rider. Jorge Villegas, the FIM president, is going to hand over the award for 2nd place to Marc Marquez, who's now got 126 career podiums. It's 87 in the Premier class for Marc Marquez. But the biggest cheer is going to go for the race winner, Andrea Dovizioso is closing in on 100 career podiums. Hermann Schutzenhofer, the governor of Styria here, hands over the 98th podium and 23rd winners' trophy, and in the Premier class, 57th and 14 race wins in MotoGP, and perhaps one of the very best for the Italian, Andrea Dovizioso. Is anyone more pumped than Davide Tardozzi down there with Gigi Dall'Igna? Someone's going to need to get him just to calm down. Celebrations here then. Mark says he's happy with that. You can see there's a bit of dejection there as he loses that one. Had Mark won here today, you could have probably closed the book on 2019 because it would have been so tough to take. He's in complete control, but it ain't quite over, is it? Let's be honest, there's 8 rounds left now, 58 points in it. They'll have to go some to overtake him, because on a bad day, he never finishes lower than second. Today, though, was not a bad day. It was a fantastic tussle, as we said, between two of the giants in MotoGP right now, and a future star joining them on the podium as well in Fabio Quartararo. Back-to-back weekends, I hope that you've enjoyed. Mark first, Dovi second in Czech Republic, Dovi first, Mark second here in Austria.